This is nothing but that sports talk. Welcome to another episode of Nothing But That Sports Talk. I'm Rafique Louison alongside Deb Withcas, and now that the NFL regular season is behind us, we can finally get into talking about some NFL football. And yeah, I'm excited that now, well, your team managed to get the number one seed in the Philadelphia Eagles, but my Giants are back in the playoffs. So,
yep.
Want to get you all impressions about these crazy matches we have to have.
I mean, I'm excited. Everyone knows playoffs, it's a clean slate. It is anyone's game right now. I'm excited to see the Giants in it as well. It's been a long time for you guys. So, I'm friends with several Giants fans being from, Philadelphia. And, I'm excited you guys are in there. I mean, we got, Seahawks versus San Fran, Chargers, Jags, Miami, Buffalo, Giants, Vikings, Ravens, Bengals, Dallas, Bucks. I mean, we'll see what's going on here. I definitely have my thoughts. Who were the dominant teams in these matchups? But as far as the Eagles too, I was getting a little scared there. I'm a huge Gardner Minshew fan. I think he rocked the first game, second game, not so much. I think he's a solid backup, but I have to say I was very excited to see Jalen back. We just could not lose that last game to the Giants. And it turns out, the Giants sat most of their starters anyway, so, we were going to win the game, I feel like. But they still gave us a good game though. It was kind of touch and go there for a little bit, and I was excited that the Eagles came out with the win, and took first seed NFC East, and also got a bye on the first week of playoffs.
Yeah, and not to mention, well, the Giants, they looked like they were not really committed to the game all that much early, because it's like
why would they be?
I mean, he was kind of shaky, but you know what? The backup quarterback showed you why he's a backup quarterback. I mean, he has some tough time, like getting first downs. They always run into a lot of 3 and outs, and even when he does get first downs, like he just don't really do it with that many yards. I mean, he did do for over 100 yards, but it's like the Eagles defense showed you why they've been dominant all last season. I mean, at the very least, they put up a stronger defensive effort than they did the last time when you had about like 48 points on us when you came to MetLife Stadium. But you know what? It's just regular season.
Right. And I think, the Giants defense is legit. You guys have been playing really well, as of late. And I think the Giants are gonna do well. I'm excited to see this game against the Vikings. I honestly can't pick who's gonna win that game. What are your thoughts?
I'm picking the New York Giants to win without question. I mean, come on, I gotta go hard for the. You played the Vikings earlier get a late field goal is the reason why we lost. But
right,
it happens.
I mean, I think earlier in the season I would have went Vikings on this one, but I don't know if the Vikings have been showing up as much as and the Giants have been showing up. So might have to agree with you on that one.
Yeah, it's gonna take a lot before we can actually win that game, because US Bank Stadium is gonna be pretty loud. They're gonna be ready for this matchup.
Mm-hmm.
And when I'm looking at the Giants, they're only as good as Saquon Barkley and Daniel Jones can take them.
Right. What do you think about Seahawks versus San Fran? So it's the first playoff game that we're going to be witnessing. What are your thoughts?
I'm thinking San Francisco is going to take this one because let's face it. I mean, not to take away from Geno Smith's effort in getting the Seahawks to the playoffs, making sure that the Green Bay Packers either won or got eliminated from playoff contention when they lost to the Detroit Lions yesterday, which did happen. But I do like the fact that Geno Smith
was a crazy game. I mean, that was a crazy game. I was watching it with a Green Bay fan. We could talk about that later. And, he was not happy. I gotta give credit
where credit is due to the Seattle Seahawks. They literally broke the storm. After the Russell Wilson trade, you thought they weren't going to get, but Geno Smith literally led this team to new heights.
I agree with you, and I was super excited to see Geno out there and finally get his shot this season, and he did it, and they're in the playoffs. Can they beat San Fran? Maybe. I don't see it happening.
To beat San Francisco.
You know, I
quarterback do you use? They're
I
not.
honestly am thinking that San Fran might be Super Bowl, so I think San Fran has this one.
Yeah, exactly. I mean, I already picked. Well, let's see. We already got through the first two matchups. I picked the Giants over the Vikings. I'm picking San Francisco over Seattle. Next up, the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Los Angeles Chargers. My God, did both of those teams turn on the Jets in the last month of the season?
Yeah, I mean, I'm definitely going Chargers here. Literally talking to one of my friends who works for the Chargers right now. So, I mean, the Jags, I'm impressed that they're in the playoffs. You know, I'm obviously a huge Peterson fan, Trevor Lawrence. But yeah, I don't think they have what it takes to beat the Chargers right now. The Chargers are on a roll, and I think they're going to be a force to be reckoned with in the playoffs.
Yeah, but let's not forget the last time the Jacksonville Jaguars and the Chargers faced off early in the season, Jacksonville laid down the smack on them.
Okay.
Like, seriously, let's not forget that. They 4 points to the Chargers, only 10. 10 points? Wow, they came to SoFly.
I honestly forgot about that, to be honest. So, yeah, no, I'm glad you just called me out on that one.
Come on, Deb. I mean, they're playing where people said otherwise. I mean, at least, at that point, the Jacksonville Jaguars weren't that good. You didn't think that they were going to beat the playoffs. Right.
That's right. That was. I remember that was a huge upset.
But Trevor Lawrence showed you why he was the #1 pick in the 2021 NFL Draft.
Yep. I do remember that game. It was a huge upset. And I remember turning to someone and be like, the Jags just beat the Chargers. Like, what is going on here? So, okay. We'll see. We'll see if we see a repeat there. I mean, I think, I think everyone's probably going to go for the Chargers on this one, but I could be wrong. We'll see. What about Miami and Buffalo?
But Buffalo, without question. I mean, but I got to give credit to the Miami Dolphins. The first time they literally slowed down the Buffalo Bills in their last drive of the game from even getting off a snap. And then the second time they played them to the last field goal. It was snow falling all over their face at the last minute. I mean, you know how cold it could be down Buffalo. I mean, it wasn't snowing throughout the game, but it snowed at the very last minute. What was another tight game between these two teams.
I mean, I think we've seen so many snow shots this season from Buffalo, where the stadium is just engulfed in snow. Yeah, no, I mean, I'm definitely going with Buffalo on this one. Again, props to Miami, but Buffalo's again. I'm thinking Super Bowl team, and I mean, the game against the Patriots, they didn't blow them out, and I thought they were going to. So it was definitely a back and forth for a while there. I did get a chance.
They did have 2 kickoff the Buffalo Bills did have 2 kickoff returns.
Yeah. I mean, I did. As just to tell our listeners, I covered the college national championship this weekend and events around there. So I didn't watch as much NFL as I usually do. So yeah. I mean, I kind of know what happened, but I didn't watch the game fully. But I did know I was shocked. I was writing an article and I was watching the Buffalo Patriots game, and I was a little shocked that Buffalo didn't run over them. So
yeah, and you know what? While we continue the conversation of the Buffalo Bills, I mean, obviously the last time a lot happened with the Buffalo Bills from the last time I came on the show, and that was a certain tragedy. Well, not really tragedy because we know it's tragic, but it was tragic to see it happen in a playoff implication game. You saw Damar Hamlin fell and collapsed. You see, I did the little video piece I did on them, giving an update of what happened between the two franchises, leading that game to literally not happen. Sadly, it's one of the reasons why the Buffalo Bills are not one of the top teams in the AFC, because you couldn't complete that one game against the Cincinnati game. But you know what? That's going to show you got to value human life. And
absolutely.
That was literally tragic on Buffalo's end, because you never want to see a football player go through that.
Ever. I mean, it was, I was actually at the Rose Bowl, covering the Rose Bowl when it happened. So I actually haven't even seen a video of it because I refused to watch it. But prayers to Damar and to everyone. Thank God. I just read that he was released and he's back, back in Buffalo, and he has, several weeks of recovery. But no, I mean, that was bad. I mean, there's bigger things than football. And thank God he's on his road to recovery. So yeah, I definitely, I mean, in the Bills, they're going to be a force to be reckoned with. I mean, I would like to see them. I mean, I'm an Eagles fan, and I always want to see the Eagles in the Super Bowl. But I think for this season, I mean, it would be great if they won the Super Bowl because, also too, because of Damar. I think, they gel together and do it. I think that would just be an amazing story too.
Yeah, Damar Hamlin was literally a great contribution to the Buffalo Bills defense. As to why they became what they are today.
Yeah, absolutely. And also too, I mean, like I said, I was at the Rose Bowl and John Franklin had found out about it. Penn State had just won, and we were in the press conference. We were in the post, press conference, and he was asked about it, and he recruited Damar actually. So, he had said it was personal, and he knows his family, and he was just praying that he was going to be, okay. Because at that point it was really bleak. No one had any information, and yeah. So thank God everything is, seems to be on the up and up. But that was a special moment to be there and have him talk about that as well.
Yeah, I got to give props to ESPN for spending that entire day covering the Damar Hamlin situation because it's a big deal. That game didn't even matter because that didn't even matter. That situation mattered. And I know I'm kind of be repetitive about it, but you can't really help it because Damar Hamlin meant a lot to the whole NFL Players Association and the NFL league on its own.
Yeah. It was a lot. It was a lot to take in. I think everybody felt it, and everyone who was watching the game, even if you aren't a football fan, a man basically died on a football field, which is, crazy. Like, thank God they were able to bring him back, and props to the medical staff and props to, the staff in general that got him the help that he needed on that field. So.
Yeah. All right. Now on to the team that they did face somebody in that football, but didn't get to complete because of that situation. The Cincinnati Bengals versus the Cincinnati Bengals versus the Baltimore Ravens. And we already saw that matchup happen on the last week of the season, but that game was meaningless. Baltimore cared about this particular wild card matchup coming up. And obviously, I got Cincinnati winning this one. I mean, they're defending AFC champions. So is that really hard to predict? Who you think is going to win this one?
I mean, I think the Bengals have it.
Yeah, Baltimore struggled in postseason games, but at least I know that, and obviously it's going to continue this time around.
Yeah, I think the Bengals have it. So we'll see. Yeah. But Ravens, I mean, I feel like the Ravens are kind of hot and cold.
Yeah, and you know what? The Tampa Bay Buccaneers and the Dallas Cowboys. This is another match. This is another matchup where the Dallas Cowboys have a chance to shut the media up. I mean, we either see Michael Irvin get hype or Stephen A. Smith get hype on first take the very next day because the Cowboys going up against one of the greatest quarterbacks of all time. And Deb, as long as you would follow Tom Brady, even up until the Super Bowl matchups against your Philadelphia Eagles, like, what have you always thought about Tom Brady as a player?
I mean, you never count Tom Brady out, ever. I mean, and also too, being at that Super Bowl that the Eagles won, it was down to the last seconds. And I always tell the story of how, Tom Brady had the ball, a couple seconds left on the clock, throwing a Hail Mary down to Gronk in the end zone. You saw the ball hit the end zone, and I mean, I think I stopped breathing. And, you saw the ball drop. And, like I said, I turned and I looked at my best friend and I said, did we just win? And she turned to me and said, yes. And I still can't believe I said that because I saw the ball drop before my eyes, but you always think, oh, something's going to happen with the Philadelphia Eagles. This doesn't happen to us. We don't win the Super Bowl. I was waiting for a flag to be thrown or something to go wrong, and it didn't. And then all the confetti started flying. What was that?
They won that Super Bowl 51-45.
It was 44-31.
It was 51-45. I remember the final score, and I got to give credit where credit's due. And I remember the last time you came on the show, you said you would never bet against Nick Foles. He was the reason you got that Super Bowl ring.
Yeah, absolutely. Which is crazy that he hasn't been able to do that since, or and unfortunately he got hurt playing with the Colts, so I was sad to see that. But yeah, no, I love Nick Foles. Tom Brady's the GOAT, and never, like I said, when I saw that ball in his hand and that Hail Mary that he threw, that's what Tom Brady's known for. He's known for like coming back right at the end there and taking it all away. So I mean, that's why he's the GOAT. So yeah, I mean, I don't know that what the Buccaneers, they lost pretty bad to Atlanta though in week 18.
It's a meaningless game. Don't worry about that. The Atlanta Falcons that game is meaningless.
Yeah, I mean, I honestly I wasn't able to watch it, but I just saw
all that matters is that Tom Brady is back in the playoffs again. It looked like he wasn't because he had some tough losses to the Cincinnati Bengals, the Carolina Panthers, but he almost lost to the Los Angeles Rams. In a rematch of last year's divisional round. But you know what? This is what happens when you underestimate Tom Brady. Tom Brady, even in his worst seasons, this guy turns on the Jets at the last minute.
That's true. And
I remember when me and Ryan Walker, we did episodes like a few years ago during the Super Bowl run in 2020 when they won it all, blasting the Kansas City Chiefs. We always talked about how you never want to go up against Tom Brady unless you're a Giants fan like me. We beat Tom Brady twice, and you managed to get a Super Bowl win against Tom Brady. But outside of that, Tom Brady's undefeated in Super Bowl. You can't stop the quarterback.
It's hard to do. He becomes even more alive in the playoffs. Like, he loves a good challenge, and I mean, it's just been a challenge. He's 45. So yeah, I mean, he faces those challenges head on and seems to do well. I mean, it's going to be a good matchup. Dallas Bucks. We'll see.
Yeah. And you know what? As far as the
Cowboys, I like to go in Dallas, though. I don't know. I mean, I'm not supposed to.
Okay, you can go with Dallas, but I'm going with Tom Brady and the Buccaneers because let's not forget the Cowboys. They give you high hopes and then they fumble at the last minute.
That is true. They do have the reputation to do that.
If you've been following what Stephen A. Smith been saying on ESPN First Take, he educates you on how you cannot get overhyped about these Dallas Cowboys. It's tough to go hard for them when they haven't won Super Bowl since the Michael Irvin days. And obviously being an older sports journalist and an two-time Emmy Award winner, holding those trophies right behind you, you know how long you know how Cowboys fans are literally going through it during those years when they haven't won a Super Bowl. They haven't gone any further in the divisional round since.
You would never know that though by the way they talk. They talk like they won the Super Bowl last year.
They're going to win the Super Bowl next year, right?
That's the way they talk, especially when they beat the Eagles. But it's just an Eagles Dallas rivalry. But yeah, it's pretty funny.
I mean, if the Cowboys win this one, good for you. But nah, you Cowboy fans don't. I'm not. I mean, I got to win this game at least. I haven't won this game, but you know what? If they lose, it's Tom Brady. I can't wait to see how they're going to fumble at this. How they're going to fumble a playoff game this time around. I mean, so-called miscatch against the Green Bay Packers, to losing a late game field goal to the Packers, to not being able to not having have a possession properly contained in the loss against the San Francisco 49ers last year. I mean, obviously, Mariah and this dude named Talking Spicy, who does announcing for the New York Summer Basketball games on the show when we went crazy raging about how you're not supposed to go to the left side. Like, you're supposed to actually run it and go out of bounds. Run and go out of bounds. I'm talking about Dak Prescott. You couldn't get the possession together in time for another snap.
Got it. Yeah, no, we'll see. I mean, I don't disagree with you with the Tom Brady.
Tony Romo played hot potato that one time against the Seattle Seahawks. And he threw a pick to my guy R.W. McCoy for the Giants. So I know I'm saying a lot with the Cowboys, but that's just the way they are.
No, you're right. They haven't won anything in a really long time. So they definitely tend to flub up in playoffs. And like I said, playoffs, it's a clean slate. It's anyone's game. And yeah, we'll see how that slate builds up. You know how it plays out. Who do you think is going to be in the Super Bowl?
I mean, it's tough to tell. Oh yeah.
What do you obviously you want your Giants in,
Yeah,
but
I want my Giants to make it to the Super Bowl no matter
right.
what.
But what do you actually think?
And I also, I know Ryan Walker would like to see his Giants in the Super Bowl. Welcome to the show, Ryan Walker. I see you rocking the New York Knicks fitted and in that little black shirts.
Hey,
Absolutely, Deb. How you doing?
I'm
Happy
good.
New
How
Year.
are you?
Good.
We're talking Super Bowl.
Yeah, we talking NFL playoffs. I mean, we already went over the playoff matchups, but I'll go over it again since you came on the show. First up, I mean, we got the fight. Our Giants are back in the playoffs. That's the exciting parts. But how much faith do you have that you're going to beat the Minnesota Vikings after the effort you put in the regular season matchup?
I feel so good about this game. I feel so good. It's the perfect matchup. It's the best matchup. Didn't want to have to see Philadelphia, Dallas, or San Francisco in the first round. You know, didn't want to see any one of the or your division opponents, you know, that you see all the time. You want to try to get into the postseason with a different kind of, you know, a team opponent that you're used to seeing. And San Fran is not a good matchup for us right now. They're a good football team. They have a lot of potential to make a deep run in the postseason. If we have to see them at any time, we would prefer it to be in the next round, if we're fortunate enough to get out of this round. But this is the best matchup for us because Minnesota is not as great as they've been in the past on defense. So we'll be actually able to move the football with DJ and Saquon in the year that they have. And believe it or not, we're still 26th in passing, which is not great. But we have guys that are making plays with Hodgkins, you know, with Richie James, you know, Slayton didn't play great last week, but we got our tight end back from a few weeks ago who can make plays as well too. We can score points on the Vikings, and we have the defense with, like I said, with Adoree Jackson coming back, Xavier McKinney, our free safety captain, coming back. We can beat this team. They needed 62 yards on a field goal to beat the Giants. You know, so that tells you that they can compete in this game. That's the best matchup from them, and they can steal this game. You know, that's no disrespect to Minnesota, and that's no disrespect to the playoffs, because the NFL playoffs, boy, I tell you, it's about them 3-4 hours that you play that game, because you know matchups can look one way and be totally the opposite of what goes on when the time is. So the Vikings are still the favorite, but this is a good matchup for the Giants. Absolutely.
Exactly, and I already picked the Giants to win this one. And Deb, I mean, obviously, I know you already gave your thoughts, but retell it since Ryan's on the show.
Sure. I mean, and I before the end of the season, I would have picked Vikings over Giants. I think Vikings were a force to be reckoned with. They kind of lost some of their steam towards the end of the season, I think, and I think the Giants picked it up, right? So I'm excited to see this matchup. I'm excited to see this game. Giants might have it. I think they can pull this one out.
And that's no disrespect to the Vikings because they're good.
Totally, no, great football team.
Justin Jefferson is phenomenal. The tight end is really good. Dalvin Cook is really good. So Adam Thielen is really good. They're loaded with offense. It's just the other side of the football, and that's why I think that we can stay close with it. So, I mean we're going to see.
Like, Giants defense has been playing really well.
Yes.
You know what I mean? I feel like, and obviously, with Barkley, you guys have him. So
we're going to attack the quarterback because you got to look at it with Kayvon Thibodeau, who is coming into his own. Elijah on the other side. Leonard Williams is a stud in the interior with the defensive tackle. DeMarcus Lawrence is a Pro Bowler. He's absolutely terrorizing in the interior. So we got guys that will attack the quarterback. And that's what I said with those two key guys. Remember I said those names. Xavier McKinney and Adoree Jackson. Those are two guys that they're getting back in their secondary that weren't there the first time. So it's not going to be the God bless him, but the guy Morneau was lining up on Jefferson and them, and boy, it was like PlayStation. They were making sure every single time he lined up, they went right at him. Adoree's going to be there now. That's going to shore up some things. You got your free safety over the top. This one's going to be real interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, it really is. And you know what? You mentioned Justin Jefferson. That guy has been a monster for the Minnesota.
They wouldn't be the same team without him. I mean,
he had a one-handed catch against the Buffalo Bills, and what was literally the game of the year.
He's a monster.
Monster, yeah.
So the cornerbacks have to do what they can to slow this guy down, because if he gets on a long ass run, it's gonna be tough. Pardon my French, but yeah. All right. And Ryan, what's your predictions for the other from the other matchups? Started with the Buffalo Bills and the Miami Dolphins, and also to add on to that, thoughts on the Damar Hamlin situation.
Hamlin's situation. Thank God that we could talk about it now with him doing so much better and him being released, and God bless him and his soul and everybody that's been along the journey with him. So, that's just it's better to talk about it positive, because 1 week ago it was a whole different conversation. But I'm in regards to the matchup, just the same thing. I just like the energy that the Bills are playing with right now. They're a good football team. Man, sometimes I hope this is not a bad omen, because it's like the year they could have a chance to get the number 1 seed. This, that catastrophic event happened. And even so, with the whole format, I guess it works out. They have the 2 home games. If they win, they'll have another home game. If they get to the conference game, it'll be on a neutral site. But the biggest thing about trying to go for the number 1 seed of this new playoff system is to get that bye. You know what I mean? And to me, and I don't want to sound cynical, if they lose this week to Miami, their battle cry can say, we didn't have an opportunity. Everything happened the way it happened. You know what I'm saying? Yep. But or if they lose the next game, because having that bye, everybody working in that, it is exponentially huge. So but still, they have the opportunity. God bless them. I think they're gonna. I don't think the Dolphins. Who's the quarterback? Is Tua playing? No, right?
Well, that remains to be seen on what happened with
Miami's done.
He didn't play yesterday, and they beat the New York Jets. Barely beat the New York Jets.
They 11-6. It was 9-6 with 18 seconds on the clock, and the Jets decided to be the New England Patriots and run a friggin' lateral or whatever play.
And they scored it, and they gave a safety to the Dolphins. Oh my God!
That's got to be one of the most boneheadedest things to do. So the Buffalo Bills are a whole different type of juggernaut than the New York Jets, and they're going to go down.
Even though they shut it down in Florida, but the game's not being played in Florida; it's being played in upstate New York. Yeah, something's going on with Ryan.
It's Skylar Thompson was playing, right?
Yeah. Sorry about that. Unfortunately, something's wrong with Ryan's camera, so I'm gonna try to get him. But anyways, as we continue talking about the NFL playoffs, it's going to be pretty interesting to see what happens going forward.
Yep.
Now that we got this guy's perspective on what's been going on. Sorry about that. Ryan's camera has been kind of acting up.
I didn't know if it was mine or if it was his.
It was his.
And you know what, too, real quick, just for editing, did I say John Franklin? I think I wanted to say James Franklin. I think I said John Franklin, though. For Penn State.
I think you said it right. And you know what? I remember, this kid at DC that used to play football in Canarsie, he's played for Penn State. So kudos to him for participating in a bowl game.
Right. Yeah, no, it was exciting. My best one of my best friends from college, her son plays at Penn State. So, but yeah, no, James Franklin. You can just say Franklin. You can edit it just for me to say Franklin. Sort of. I don't even know. I was thinking about that. Anyway.
Yeah. So, and I mean, well, me, you already were interested. Whenever Ryan Walker comes back, we'll continue talking about the Buffalo Miami matchup in a second. But why don't you talk about your experience with covering the Bulls season?
Yeah. So I'm not as much of I'm an NFL girl, let's face it, but I do follow, college, for sure. I was able to cover the Rose Bowl, which, Penn State winning that was super fun. I'm from Pennsylvania, so it was great to see one of my you know, hometown teams. And then I just covered the national championship, which is literally about to be played in about 45 minutes. So just a ton of events doing, around that. Spent a lot of time at the media hotel. Was able to interview all of the players, both on TCU and Georgia. Got to be there when all the players arrived. Got to cover a lot of the fan events that were produced for the game. They had a really cool fan event at the LA Convention Center, lots of football related kind of obstacle courses and fun. It was all free. Concerts, Pitbull performed, Sweetie performed, Kelsey Ballerini performed. That was a lot of fun. And what else? There was a Taste of the Champions, which basically took all of the cities, that the bowl games were in and had cuisine from each of them. So that was neat to have like a bunch of tapas, and it was an event. It was like 5 hours. It was also, it was a teachers event as well. That they were honoring some local teachers as well. So that was cool to be there. Pep rallies for both, TCU and Georgia. So that was fun. But I have to say that I had the most fun definitely with the players and interviewing them for Media Day. So
you interview the players, like what did they tell you about how excited it is to actually reach the national championship? And
I mean excited. These guys are kids.
Championship out of all the championships in college and the pros in a calendar year.
Right. And I mean, even the head coaches, Sonny Dykes, Kirby Smart, I was at their press conference as well. They were both excited to be there. They were honored to be there. It's been a while since TCU has been in the championship. And they're excited to go moving forward to, bring more recognition to their football program. Obviously Kirby Smart's team, Georgia team, if they win this one, they'll have won the second one in a row, which hasn't been done since Alabama did it in 2011 and 2012. So it's been a while since someone won two. But the TCU crew were excited. I actually asked all of the players, who has been most influential, in getting to the ball, getting to this national championship. And, a lot of the guys answered, their parents, their uncle. There was one of the players who he just lost one of his best friends. So he talked about him. So just, a lot of people rallying around the players. Once they arrived and touched down in LA, they were excited to take pictures. Like we had them getting off the plane, and there was a big like 2023 sign, with the college football signage, and they were all taking pictures and so forth. So it was just fun to see, like, these guys were just excited to be in LA. A lot of them haven't left their home state. So yeah, it was fun. And Sonny Dykes and Kirby Smart both said, there's 132 teams in the college playoffs, and they were honored to be the last two. So that was cool to hear.
Yeah, college football is literally getting to the college football championship is getting to the college football playoffs is no joke. Let alone the championship round itself. Because I remember they just recently announced that about 1 or 2 seasons from now they're going to extend the playoff format to 8 teams instead of what is this, March Madness?
Right, and that's coming soon too. So Yeah, I mean, it was exciting. The events, everybody was, there's so much work that was put into this entire week and the championship, and I think everybody, I had a great time. I was actually at an ESPN party as well, so it was College Football Playoffs, and ESPN got together for a party of the playoffs, and I was hanging out with Mina Kimes, Jen Latta, Tim Tebow, and that was fun to be there with a lot of the ESPN talent was there. So got to talk with them and party with them. So
Yeah, Mia Khans is very fun, entertaining when you see her on television. And well, what have you always thought about how it felt to actually meet Mia Khans and Tim Tebow when you was at the party?
to be honest, I love Mina, and I think she's an NFL analyst, and there's not a lot of women analysts, if at all. So I actually asked her on the red carpet, how does it feel to be a pioneer of women in women in sports broadcasting? Because she is, and she was like, first of all, thank you. She was very humbled. It's very, and she just was, she's like loves what she does, and she was like, I hope that I encourage more women to go that route and to be in sports broadcasting. So that was great. And she also she wanted to see, I actually asked her about the matchup as well, and her answer was it's kind of a David and Goliath battle. You've got Georgia with this huge program, and then TCU, definitely the underdogs, but she loved a good underdog story. Also loved Max Duggan. So yeah, she was kind of wanting TCU to win. Tim Tebow would not tell me who he was rooting for, but he just said that he was excited to see the two teams play, and he thought it was going to be a really good game. So
yeah, it's going to be very interesting to see what happens to Tennessee and TCU and Georgetown. I mean, I said Tennessee,
Georgia, yeah.
But it's going to be this is a very interesting matchup. I mean, you got TCU who hasn't won a national championship since like the early 1990s or something around those realms, and then you got Georgia looking to win back to back. And yep. And I know this is a rare time when I'm talking about college football, because I mean college football usually has some good moments.
Yeah, and the athletes and the players, they're really passionate. I mean, some people really prefer college over NFL just because there's so much money in NFL, and with college, it's like you're playing for the heart of it, and just to play football and to
exactly. You know what? They have way better overtimes. Not the stupid ties we have in the NFL. In regular seasons, they literally battle it out until there's a winner.
Yeah.
We've got to like 3 overtimes. We have no choice but to go for a touchdown and a 2-point conversion. These kids keep battling to the last breath. I see year after year with college football. And we're going to see who are something similar to that in this matchup going on tonight with TCU and Georgia. If you want to know my thoughts or recap, you're going to have to wait till the next episode for that one, because the game is literally about to start off like in about 30 minutes. But anyways,
sorry.
But anyways, I mean, I'm glad you got to experience that. You got to go party with the ESPN talent, and then you got to do all those interviews and actually explore the Rose Bowl. Like, what can you tell me about how big the Rose Bowl arena is? I mean, the Rose Bowl field is.
It's huge. And I got actually a really cool. I've been in the Rose Bowl several times, but that was my first time in the press box. So I walked in. And it's just, I mean, it's just a huge concrete stadium, and I got a great picture from it, and it was really cool because it was Utah and Penn State, and Utah was in red, and then Penn State was in white, and they were calling it a whiteout, and so it was really cool to see that all red and then all white, and it was like half and half. So that was neat, a neat perspective, from the press box. And I mean, obviously the Rose Bowl is iconic, one of the oldest stadiums. The Rose Bowl was the first bowl game, the granddaddy of them all, it's referred to as. And no, it was a great time.
Granddaddy of them all, because it's the Rose Bowl. It's most important. It's the most important outside of the national championship. I mean, there's a lot of bowl games, but that one I feel is the most important. I mean, obviously. especially since it being part of the national championship back in the days when Vince Young, led Texas to the national championship back in those days. I mean, it was incredible.
Right, and there's pictures everywhere around the stadium of back from 1970 and before then, obviously.
Faith Jesse's alma mater.
What was that?
And it's not that far away from USC. Faith Jesse's alma mater.
Right. Yeah, I mean it's not that far. Not that far. It's a couple miles, but I was actually at Bank of California, and Bank of California is right next to the Coliseum. So the Coliseum and the Rose Bowl are very similar as far as structure. I like the Rose Bowl a little bit better, but yeah, they're both super historic.
Yeah, it's going to be very insensitive to see what happened. And well, I'm glad. Well, thank you for stopping by, Deb Withcas, and I'm glad I got to talk some football. And I'm obviously Ryan Walker couldn't really complete the episode because of camera issues, but it was good. It was good that he came on the show anyway.
We'll get him next time.
But don't worry, we'll work out a time for us to come next, for us to do this again next week.
Awesome.
And continue to watch football.
Yes. Go Eagles, go Giants.
All the balls out there, get your head in the game.